Good afternoon from Vietnam. Good morning to you. Oh, good afternoon to you also, Mr. Punn. Thank you so much for spending your early afternoon to join our show and share your wisdom, your life stories and insights to our global audience. And on behalf of the listeners around the world, we want to say thank you.
Thank you, Ha, for having me here. I'm looking forward to a lovely conversation.
And you know what? I want to especially say thank you to you because you mark Oman as our 100th country that we had our expert conversations. We've been thinking of having these 100 countries within 2025 by the end of this year, and now by the 17th of October we got it, and thanks to you, Mr. Bun. Okay.
Welcome. I'm so happy I could be the 100th on your list. Congratulations for hitting that milestone.
Thank you very much. And our conversation is designed to help people to know more about your stories, what made you do what you do. And along the way, we're going to have a conversation so that, you're going to have a good memory together. So let's start simply by a little introduction. All right. I think that in our culture, Mr. Gurbinder, is very honored if we can have you to share a little bit about who you are and the work you do to our audience. Would you please do that?
Yeah, sure. So, thank you once again. So, hello, everybody. My name is Gurbinder Singh Punn. I'm an Indian. It's a long name. So, my friends have rephrased it for me into two alphabets, the first alphabet of my first name and the first alphabet of my last name. So, they call me GP. And that's how you see on my back the word coach. It's TP. I am known by my initials. I'm a coach. I love to work with people who are looking at fulfilling their dreams, their aspirations. uh, they want to have a partner to talk to, reflect on. So I do leadership executive coaching and some other kinds of coaching. I do work with all levels of managers, CXOs, housewives, children, school kids, college kids, primarily anybody who looks forward to having a partner with whom he can work on his dreams. That's what I do. I live in Oman, which is a country in Middle East, and I work very closely in Oman, UAE, and India. I've been in UAE for and Oman for nearly 2 decades now, and I really enjoy this hospitality of this area.
Wow, wow. And Mr. GB, I'll follow your friends to call you Mr. GB, okay? So it get us closer. Uh, you have a phenomenal journey that working in different countries and traveling a lot also through your works and do the coaching to help people get better through your works, right? And you introduced to us in less than 3 minutes. And that is not fair for our audience. So we will travel time together. We will figure out, the journey that lead into this transformative movement that you are having. So how does time travel sound to you?
Let's do it.
Alrighty, I'll lead the way. When I was little, little, I grew up in the city called Da Nang City. So it's a poor city back then. That devastated by the wars in here. So that's devastated, and in a very poor family. And one night we had electricity, and the next night we didn't have electricity. So it's what happened back then after the war, right? And the only thing that entertained me at night during those nights of darkness is when if we see the moon, then it is beautiful. So my first dream about my future is to become an astronaut and fly into the moon, see how beautiful up there. But life did not give me any opportunity to do that, GB, and it took me to a very different direction. Except that I, through the past 4.5 years of interviewing experts, we interview a lot of astronauts, and one of them was the youngest man ever walked on the moon. His name is Charlie Duke. And so for you, to you, what was your first dream when you were little, thinking about the future works that you are going to do?
Hmm. So dreams keep changing, and from your childhood when you were 4 years old to when you become 40 years old, the dreams are constantly evolving and changing. And I would say my first dream as a child perhaps was to become a musician of some sort, playing instruments in public. I used to get very, very inspired when I used to see these people on the stage with lots of orchestras and symphonies going together. So that was my first reaction at that time was I want to be a musician. Now, I had no idea what musician means or a singer means. It was just the fantasy of looking at somebody in a very charismatic, in a very public appearance mode. As time grew by, maybe by the age of 10 years or so, I had another dream which was connected to this dream. And this dream came from a public announcer. There was a public speaker in India, a radio commentator actually, somebody from my tribe and my community. His name was Jasdev Singh. And Jasdev Singh used to do commentaries on radio. Now, I'm talking about the time when television was not really a household thing. It was a very luxurious thing. And I didn't come from a very luxurious family. I came from a middle income family. My father was a government employee. So one of the favorite things that we used to do was to listen to commentaries on radio for sports events, and hockey was our favorite.
Hockey.
All right. So now Jasdev Singh, elderly person from my community, speaks in a language which is not his mother tongue, but is the national language of India called Hindi. And every word that he speaks transports you onto that ground. You are in such a vivid language mode that you are sitting in that ground and without even being there, visualizing every single flick of the hockey and the swoop and the goals and the excitement. And then he became the one of the finest commentators in India. And I had a dream to become Jasdev Singh. And I don't know if I became Jasdev Singh or not became Jasdev Singh, didn't go into commentary, but I did go into public speaking. And from there, the dream built up of speaking in front of people, making a difference in people's life by my voice or by my knowledge or my intellectual. And that's how the early dreams started to move towards the career which took shape over many, many decades later on, including public speaking as one of the bigger domains of that career.
Wow. You see, when we touch about the dream at young age, at 10 years old, you listen to the radio commentator, right? And the way he talked, the way he shared information that brought you from that radio in front of inside your house. You feel like you inside the stadium, inside the field playing, right? So, and if you look back at all those little dreams that we had back then, those dots when it connected, right? Then it give us who we are today. Like, from that little thing that makes you become a person standing in front of a lot of people and share your knowledge, share your ideas, and help other people to grow, right? So, and that's beautiful. We want to go to that moment of switching, okay? From that little boy at 10 years old, and then moving forward to become a HR professional, a trusted advisor for big organizations, and then for them to hire you, helping them with advisory, with coaching, and helping them getting better. What was the transformative moment that leading to all of that?
Yeah. So I think I have a huge belief in the universe and the universe plan and divine timings. And while I constantly keep saying that, I have done it or we have done it, I find that there is a game somewhere playing much higher than me, which I don't understand, which is making me a actor on the stage of life, let's say. And you have a script in your hand which you think is your script, but there's a director out there somewhere who manages the whole show. Now, that's the philosophical context of what I'm going to say, because most of my life was not planned by me, that I want to do this and one day I will become a coach, or one day I will be a CHRO in a large organization. No, I never had that dream. I never had that plan, and I did not work towards it also. So let's go back a little bit, a step back for a moment. So that 10-year-old boy eventually grew up into a college student, became a student of accountancy, became a kind of a early accountant in his age, and moved towards a career which was a administration, office administration, including human resources, including some bits of finances here and there. So kind of a very generic early career startup at a very basic salary. Now, something very interesting happened at that time was that I got exposed to an organization which used to conduct conferences and large-sized events in the domain of quality. So ISO 9000 was a very early thing in the 90s. And I used to work for an organization which was the masters of ISO 9000 at that time. And they used to have world conferences and stuff. So I got exposed to real people speaking on stage, or real trainers coming in front of 100 people audience and taking them through a concept. And by the end of that 2 hours, everybody is like, oh, wow, we learned something. And there were Japanese and Taiwanese and Indonesians and Americans, and so people from all over the world assembled in a place and talked. Now that gave me a kind of a spark. Yeah, that is something which calls me. This is something I want to do. I want to be there in front of people and do something like what they are doing. I still didn't know what I'm supposed to do, but something like that. And one thing leads to other. As I said, there's a director up there who has written your script, and he keeps giving you those scripts one by one. And the next script given to me was an opportunity in which I moved to a company which was based in US, and they had their office in India, a very small office, and it was an engineering company. Now, every person who joins that company as an engineer had to go to US for a month for onboarding and induction and all those things. And me being the administration manager had to pay all their bills and everything. Now, I was not very comfortable with it because it was a lot of money I had to invest for everybody to go abroad. So one day I asked my CHRO, why does everybody have to go to US from India for 1 month? Why can't we do this training in India itself? And he said, there is nobody in India who can do it. I said, if you teach me, I will try to do it.
Wow.
So he said, come to Singapore. We had an office in Singapore, and we are doing a training in Singapore. You attend that training and see if you can handle it. So I went there and I learned that from them, and I started to do that back home to my staff. I got into the trainer's shoes now, moving towards the public speaking, moving towards HR, by a plan of universe. Needless to say, the people were not very happy because I was stopping them from going on their US trips. So that's how I initiated my career into training. And then one thing led to another, and I moved into more professional ways of learning and development with professional consulting companies and all. And that moved me into my eventual career of HR.
Wow. Let's stop right here a little bit, okay? And I share with you a little bit. 4.5 years ago, we started the project of connecting with experts around the world. I'm sure that is a calling from somebody up there who write the descriptions and program me and my wife to doing that. I believe so too. Okay, and along the way we talk to so many people and we form one thing that we see very common in those people, those amazing leaders, best-selling authors, top-notch scientists, engineers, and is the word newness, because they are very open to new idea. They're very open for opportunity, for possibility. Like you sit in that event, right? Operating in that event. Then you looked at those Japanese speakers, Taiwanese speakers from US, from Singapore, and saying something. You saw people, wow here, wow there, right? You could do nothing. You could, not doing anything. You could become one of those people who write notes and come home and practice those ideas, right? But at that moment, that's newness came. That you say that okay, one day you want to become those speakers, right? Sit in front, stand in front of everybody and train. Those are newness. Or when you work at the engineering company, you say, okay, it's another newness that hit you. You say, okay, can you train me? And I try to see if I can do the job. Okay, so that is something that leading also by you, Mr. GP. So if you look throughout your life and in the experience of newness, where do you see yourself, your strength, your capability, your mindset? Where is that correlated to newness?
So I'll give it a different phrase for that newness. My phrase is I'm a curious person.
Mm.
And when I see something it looks interesting or it looks like, I say, why not? Let me try it out. So curiosity took me from one place to another. In about 20 years ago, I'll share another story with you around, my journey as we're going in the time travel. So I was a trainer in India. I was working for a consulting company and I was doing automobile trainings. And I was in the leadership training zone and I was pretty well known in the Indian circles as the go-to guy for automobile leadership trainings. And one day I receive a phone call and somebody says, hey, there's an interview for an opportunity in the Middle East and would you like to try it? And I said, I'm not looking for anything. I've not applied anywhere. I don't need to shift. I'm doing pretty well here. Said, okay, just for me, can you go and attend? Please, because we are the consulting company. So I went. I went to a five-star hotel in New Delhi, India, and met two people there who took my interview. Now, there's a very funny story there is that I was sitting, imagine I'm sitting in a five-star hotel in a business center at the reception reading a newspaper, waiting for my turn to come for the interview. And one person walks out of one of the meeting rooms and goes to the reception of the business center and asks for some food options, some menu options for lunch. And the receptionist is not able to help him or convince him as to what to eat. Now, me being me, the curious person, I stood up and I walked up and I just asked him, do you like fish and chips? And he looks at me like, who the hell are you? I mean, why are you even getting into this conversation? And I said, well, I come here regularly to this hotel and fish and chips is very good. If you like, that's my recommendation. I don't know who he is. He doesn't know who I am. He goes back to his meeting room. I go back to my newspaper. And that's the end of that conversation. 5 minutes later, I'm called for the interview, and he's the same guy sitting there taking my interview along with somebody else. Now that somebody else took my whole interview, and this guy who I offered fish and chips keeps looking at me and keep doodling on his paper with a pencil and just smiling at me here and there. The interview is over in 30 minutes, and I had no intentions to pass that interview. So all my answers were coming from no, the truth, the authenticity, the right kind of information, and not really information to stage that please hire me. No desperation there. The interview, I was pretty sure they're going to tell me to go, you're not hired. But at the end of the interview, they said, we want to hire you. And the position is for the head of learning and development in a in a big dealership for automobiles. And And I said, okay, what have I done? Because this was not my plan. And then one thing led to another. I reached here in Oman. I joined the organization, and then I realized I was told he is the chairman of the company. And I looked at him. He's the same guy I offered fish and chips. So
Wow.
he's like the Bill Gates or the Steve Jobs of the automobile business in Middle East. And that relationship was so beautiful because it started on a very, very human to human approach.
Ah,
And despite being one of the richest man in this region, his relationship with me remained the same. At every meeting, at every conference, whenever there are visitors, he will hold my hand and he will tell that story of fish and chips to everybody that he can. And we will laugh about it. And I spent 2 decades serving him and his family, 3 generations of their family. And in that organization, I grew from a training manager to a CHRO
wow.
because of my curiosity, because of the human love that they gave me, and my wholehearted loyalty to build that organization into the best organization ever. I don't work there anymore, but my heart, my blessings, my prayers always are with that group and with that gentleman uh, who always supported me. So that's the human element into how the universe plays a role to give you an opportunity. And then you meet with such people in your life, like I'm meeting you today. I don't know you from anywhere, and we are connecting on a digital connection across the world and talking intense personal things to each other. And so, if we surrender to that divine plan, to the bigger universal plan, and put in our best values forward, then it works out for you. You don't need to really do a lot of strategy to become a CXO.
Wow. Wow. Huge admiration for you, Mr. GB. And you look at the world today, right? I travel a lot also. And every time that we travel, we saw people ignoring one another, especially strangers. I try to talk to people to make sure that, yeah, hey, we're on the same flight together. Try to talk, try to be, if we're going to be here for 4 hours together, why not try to know a little bit? Right? Some people would just, put the things up and then not saying anything. And I feel like, okay, we are living in the world is beautiful. Why not do something beautiful for one another? Like what you just said. You could sit there watching the newspaper and give, whatever that hungry man could do and find his food himself. It doesn't matter. It's none of your business, right? And there might be somebody else who we do that kind of helping for him. There's a 5-star hotels there, and there would be a lot of well-trained staff that would do that kind of job. They got paid for it. But then you stood up, you approach the gentleman, you offer him what you believe is good for the gentleman, and see that giving without expecting anything in return, without expecting any taking, has given a relationship that last for decades, and it will continue to last, and those stories will be coming, and we'll be sharing within that organization, within the community, and through conversation that you just shared to me, it will reach to the world also for people to see, hey, do something for one another, do something unexpected. That is newness right there, Mr. Boom. You see, that's newness right there. And that's why every time I had conversation, I can easily pick that, okay, the beauty comes from doing something new, something unexpected, something beyond expectations, something adding values, and it's new that added. That leading to a phenomenal journey beyond imagination, beyond belief, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. You summarize it very well, I would say.
Yeah. So I want to go to ask the next question is regarding to the source of that curiosity. All right. Some say it's because of nature, some say because of the way we nurture. And I think it's the best way is to ask, if was that, somebody in your life, in your family, is a big source for you to have that curiosity growing up, or was that the way that you've been nurtured, and teach, and that leading you to have that curiosity and the willingness to giving before asking.
So yeah, I think some part of it happens as you grow up,
Mm.
because your childhood plays a major role without you knowing it into the way you become, your environment, your system. So I come from a community of Indian people who wear this kind of a headgear. We keep full facial hairs. We call Sikh. The community is Sikh, Sikh. And some of the virtues, some of the values, there are a massive community work. So if you go to a Sikh temple anywhere in the world, one of the things that you will get is free food all over the world. And you can go every day for 3 times a day and you will be not even raise the eyebrow. It is your right to walk into that temple and eat food. And it comes from community service. People like you and me will cook and serve there. So the learning, the message is every human being is same at a human level, and everybody has the right to respect, get the respect and the dignity from everybody else. So somewhere you get programmed and trained in a way by your environment is that you do not really look at big, small. I'm CXO, he's a driver, all that barriers kind of disappear. So I think that happened for me very early. I saw in my family that when a worker is coming, a technician is coming to clean up our house or do the gardening job, my father would insist to my mother to make tea and some biscuits and serve it to that person outside because he is working hard. So let's give it to him, irrespective of where he comes from.
Wow.
So I will give some part of it maybe comes from there is to reach out to people and then just offer your help if they need it. The second part of it also comes from the fact that I had a huge insatiable desire to learn more and grow more. I'm a curious learner. I learn every day. Even at this age, I'm always enrolled in one organized learning course or the other. Every day I spend some time in learning something new. And I think this is something which has come from me as nature. This is God's gift or a blessing that you need to constantly keep learning. And I think one of the things that works for me very well is that if I'm learning, I'm happy. If I stop learning, I feel very uncomfortable.
Ah.
So that constant learning mode, that curiosity, like that newness of something new coming my way. Now I'm these days working on something called as the group process facilitation. Now I've been an L&D person, I've been a HR, I've been a coach, I've done a whole lot of other certification, but I have not done an in-depth study of group processes. So how groups work. And then I discovered that there is a whole science to it and the whole technology available to it, originating from Japan and Vietnam and Korea and then South Asia mostly, because a lot of it was community work and the way communities, groups of people from villages were being supported and helped to take their own decisions, which then got transferred to corporate as a science. And I got very curious because that's a very new way of adult learning. So instead of standing there as the trainer with a PowerPoint deck and saying, I know something, I'm going to tell you, you are there, I am here, facilitation changes all that. It puts everybody on one common ground. They are adults, they know their stuff, they have the capabilities to take their decisions. My job as a facilitator is to facilitate the environment and the process by which they can do it themselves. Now it's very similar to coaching, but in a bigger way. So coming back to my why I learned that is because it's now stimulating my mind. Every day I'm picking up a new book, a new content, a new video, and I'm so happy I'm doing it because this way now I can contribute even better to the communities that I serve with one more skill in my toolbox.
Beautiful. Why so many people are afraid of new things? Afraid because stay in the comfort zone, right? Stay in where they are, been there for so long. There's a lot of people. There's a group of people like you. You're constantly expanding the comfort area to the new territory to learn something new, to expand the knowledge and the body of work so that you can add values more to the people. So. I just want to help those people who are afraid of change to have a little bit of comfortability, to have a little bit of confidence to walk into change and to embrace that newness. So for you, when you know something is new, that you feel curious about it, what do you do with that?
I I start to play with it. I start to explore it further. I start to see, like when 3 years ago somebody spoke to me about facilitation, I had no idea what it is. But I jumped onto a flight, went to a conference in India, gate crashed into that conference. I was the last person they accepted. Their seats were full. But I said, hey, I have come from so far. I need to be here. Here is my money. Let me go in. And I get crashed into it. I explored. For 3 days, I just sat there like a newbie in front of people half my age, uh, learning, exploring, knowing, okay, and lost in the wonderland. And then, what is it happening? But those 3 days of exploration of something new gave me enough data to say, hey, this looks interesting. Now let's go deeper into it. This is making sense. This is useful. Uh, Same things for the technological changes of AI which are happening. Everybody talks about AI these days. I started using AI maybe 7 years ago, 8 years ago, when the first discussion of ChatGPT happened and everybody was so afraid of it. And I was CHRO of my organization that time, and I told my training team, within 30 days, I want an AI program to be ready for my employees to learn because this is a future. Something is going to happen on this. I don't know what, but I don't want them to be left out. Similarly, for LMS, digital learning systems, when the first time the shift happened from traditional mode of classroom trainings to online learning platforms, I was one of the first ones to go and explore them and pick them and bring them to my organization and say, hey, let's do it. And I had to convince a hell lot of stakeholders to invest into that technology that nobody has seen ever. And then we became the first organization in this part of the world to have a group of people who were getting trained on a mobile phone or a laptop and not sitting in a classroom. So curiosity, exploration, deep dive into it gives you the confidence that you are in the right direction. Today, every child has an AI in their phone. Every person has a LMS platform on their computer, and everybody knows today, what not to do in terms of training and development. So I think for me and for anybody who's looking at change, my only uh, recommendation to them is change is uncomfortable. Change is not easy. It always causes little bit of uneasiness in you. But if you read the book Who Moved My Cheese, you know change is inevitable. It will come. I may continue to say no to AI, but now AI is not saying no to you. It's already in your mobile phone. It's already on your desktop. It's in your life, and you better know it. So change will happen. So be
Yeah.
you the one to let the change come to you and be one step ahead of the change and be on top of it. rather than it causing a trouble to your life.
This is a GP. So after 2 decades of working, I remember if you said correctly, it's from a training position up into the CHRO position. So from the lower rung of the ladder to the C corner, right? C corner office, and you left the organization, starting your own firm, right? And I interview a lot of business leaders who run business that $1 billion across 50, 60 countries. And one of the things that they've been always thinking and dreaming, wanting to do is that one day they're gonna have their own business, because they've been there, done that, and but they could not leave the comfortability yet of the salary, of the compensation, of all of the like position and travels and the title and everything, right? So for you, when what make you make that bold decision to leave all the comfortability aside and then studying into the newness again, to becoming an independent coach and having people under your practice?
So what happened here was that when you are in a corporate world, definitely you have all those benefits that you spoke about. You have a safety of a fixed income, you have the travel, you have the benefits, you have a reserved parking lot, by the way. So you have all of that. But what you don't have is the self actualization, the need for self fulfillment. The highest point in the Maslow's theory is when you really are doing something that you want to do. So I had reached that pinnacle of my career where I felt so complete and so much fulfilled with the life that I have built over the years for myself, that the universe gave me, is that it's time now for me to do something that makes me more happy internally. And so ambition and detachment, they kind of played two very critical roles for me. There is always ambition to have one more extra million in your bank account, but I learned at some place. So I'm a little bit of a spiritual person from that perspective, and I I went to Vipassana centers in Buddhism, and I did my meditation there. And one of the things that I just spoke about is change. And I knew that my change is coming, that I'm going to reach my retirement age in the corporate world. And after that, the corporate will continue to hire me. They'll say, okay, you carry on. You've been a good guy. You can be here for a few more years. But what's next for me? What's next for me is me doing exactly what I want to do, the way I want to do it, at my own time, at my own pace. And so I realized that I need to then step out of this rat race, so to say, of the daily corporate grind and do something bigger than this, which is not now for a corporate but for me. The
Mm.
ambition was not to make money out of it or not to become a millionaire by starting my own business. The ambition was to practice uh, coaching to a group of people who who can help themselves with that. And I wrote a book that time called The Coaching Advantage. And the purpose of the Coaching Advantage book was not that a CXO should get coached, but everybody should get coached. If you are just starting your career, find a coach. If you're in the middle of your career, find a coach. It's a beautiful technology, not known to the world. So I picked it up as a mission for myself to make coaching known to the world, and especially to the people who are young in their careers, the emerging leaders, how they can frame their careers by knowing themselves better. What are their areas where a little shift in their behaviors and habits will put them onto a different track of life? So I found that being on my own gives me the most flexibility to do all that. Do what I love, and contribute to the society. And yet, no need for the morning alarm to wake me up at 6 o'clock. I can sleep till whatever time I want to sleep.
Where you find that humble in your body? When you talk, you always inject some humility in there. Where did you learn that?
No, it's a blessing from uh, from somewhere. I think my parents, my community, friends like you, who give me the opportunity to contribute, and I do that from my heart, and I'm grateful for the opportunities to contribute back to the communities of the world. You know, I work with communities, I work with schools, I work with teachers, I work with children,
Wow.
I work with the spiritual communities, I work with the professional bodies, uh, and I think that's the best use of my knowledge and wisdom is that I give it out to as many people as I can before my time on this theater, my act, my drama, my part gets over. Is that I have passed on the learnings, technologies, tools to as many people as I can
Wow.
so that they can use them to their best.
Mr. GB, you touched my feeling because 2 months ago, my wife and I we acquired a platform called sustainabilitymind.com. That's the website that we acquired. And the reason for that was we saw a lot of sustainable initiatives, right? It's all a lot of, yeah, but then definition of sustainability was not really unified and was not really, clearly defined also. So when you do something that people don't understand what it is, and where we're heading, so it might be confusing. So it's like going to many directions. So my wife and I say, okay, we're not going to become an expert on that field, but that platform is where we want to hear advices and wisdom from people around the world when they think about sustainability. Mind is the mindset about thinking about sustainability, what it is. What you do right now is to help building a sustainable culture, sustainable generations, sustainable thinking for the people under your coaching. And that is something that under the umbrella corporation, you will not be able to do it at bigger scales, right? And that's why you decided to run on your own for that. So we want to hear from you. If you define a mind of sustainability, a sustainability mind, what is that?
So you touched on a subject that's very close to my heart, and I started working on sustainability myself 2 years ago.
Oh,
And when we talk about sustainability, the first thing that people usually talk about is the environment, the planet, the greens, and that's one part of sustainability because we're talking about the sustainability of the planet. But sustainability is a concept that can be applied to everything in life. So sustainability of your family, sustainability of your marriage, and what do you do for sustainability? Sustainability of the organization that you are working with. How is the next 50 years of this organization going to sustain itself? What system, processes, and systems or tools you need to bring in so that the next 50 years can take care of themselves going forward? Because one third of every Fortune 500 companies every year go out of that list. They become extinct. They're not sustainable. Sustainability of the wisdom, of the knowledge, of the tacit knowledge, of the explicit knowledge is something what you are doing. And people like you who are collecting all that knowledge and information and wisdom and putting that in a platform for generations to come and use and see it. So for me, sustainability is a concept which can be applied to a community, a club, a family, a school, a business, a knowledge, and the fundamentals remain the same. What are you going to do today so that this sustains, this lasts longer, this does not disappear after you have disappeared? And that's where I think the sustainability of mind, critical things is write books. You should leave your knowledge and information in books. You should put up things on the digital mode, which is a sustainable digital mode, not something where the WordPress will stop your subscription after you're not there.
mm,
Somewhere where the knowledge remains in the public domain for a very long time.
mm.
Talk to people, talk to communities, pass on your wisdom and knowledge to others. Create more HAs, create more GPs, create more people who can duplicate you, and so the journey continues. And that's what sustainability of mind means to me.
Wow, wow. Well, what you've been said, it lead me to the next question is our own desire of doing is to help people to improve their ability to think. Okay, so there's so many things that impact in our ability to think that to us our thinking capability is diminishing. So and we want to move it up again, right? So one of the best way for us to do is having conversation like this, and in conversation we're talking to world-class thinker, amazing people. So why don't we ask those people their secrets to think, right? So, Mr. GB, the big question we want to ask you in this conversation is, how have you been growing your ability to think?
I think you don't need to grow that ability. Everybody has that ability to think. It's getting covered up by a lot of clutter, by a lot of noise. And all you need to do is remove that noise, that clutter, and you will find that thinking will emerge out of you. It's like the Michelangelo structure, the statue. You don't need to make the statue, you just need to remove the unnecessary pieces because thinking is a natural phenomena given to a human being. You start to think at your very indecent age. So definitely there are tools and technologies and systems and methodologies given in the literature and science to help you think more rationally, more emotionally, more neuroscience. But to me, you to be a thinker, you just need to find some time to think for yourself. You need to find a quiet corner of your house, of your workplace, maybe a coffee shop, maybe a Starbucks with a cup of coffee, with a pen and paper, and just sit down and write down what comes to you. One of the things that I recommend to people is journaling. I'm a journaler, and I'm a master coach in journaling, and I'm one of the methodologies of me helping people think is teaching them how to journal. And as a mission of my life, I do it free of cost. So I have hundreds of people from all over the world in my group who get a daily prompt from me that forces them to think on something and write down in their journal. Now, out of these hundreds of people, even if 10% of them do it, there is a shift in thinking for them. They are looking at one area of their life, thinking about it, documenting it, and moving their brain muscles in the direction that helps them heal, that helps them grow, that helps them express their emotions or feelings that they're not doing to anybody else. So, thinking is not complicated, thinking is simple. Thinking just needs some time, a little bit of fresh place in a house, a notebook, a pen, and remove the notifications and the clutter from your life. And you will find you can think on a toilet seat. You can think in under the shower. You can think anywhere. You can think while driving.
Hmm.
Thinking doesn't have to be a activity planned at this time. I think.
I see. Thank you. Our next question is about time travel, and this is the last time that we're gonna time travel. Okay, I want to bring you to when you're 10 years old and you sat with your father listening to the radio commentator, and you guys listening to him describing the Ruby game, right? And you and me gonna walk into the door, get into that room, sit there together with you young then, and then your father then. and you're gonna tell your father and yourself about the future works that GB is going to do, and share some words of or words of wisdom to the two of them for the journey ahead. What is that you're gonna share to them?
Hmm. I think I'm going to share with them is that this commentary or this vivid description coming out of this plastic radio is going to change the future and the career of this person who's listening to it now. There's no plan to do it, no knowledge how to do it. We don't know what is going to happen. But what we are doing right now, what you guys are sitting together and listening to that commentary, something is getting stimulated and starting to emerge. A seed is being planted for the oak tree to come out of it. So this is the journey. This commentary will take him onto talking to the world, talking to people, becoming a voice that can make a difference. Just like Jasdev Singh is making a difference in our living room by his vivid description of what he is seeing. Maybe this person's voice will make a difference in the communities that he serves in his own way.
Wow, wow, that is a seed of newness right there. See. And normally I don't ask this question during our interview because you are in our 100 country that entering, all right? And I want to say thank you for that. So in 4 days, our region will celebrate Women's Day, okay? And I just want to have, since I'm have you in here, I just want to have you to share a little bit how you feel about women's strength, and so that we can celebrate it into the video because we have people from 50 countries already sharing. I want to include yours part into this one also. So if you can share a little, you know, little that you have in your mind about woman power and how can they use those power to change the world, what would that be that you can say to them?
So 17th October every year is the Women's Day in Oman. So we have our Women's Day today.
17 of what?
October. So today.
Today. Oh my god, we are like 3 days later.
So we started our celebrations yesterday already because today is a weekend in this part of the world. You know, when we talk about women, I am reminded of the thought and the concept of from Hindu mythology and my religion mythology. It says Yatra Naryastu Pujyate Ramante Tatra Devta. Now this is Sanskrit. And in Sanskrit it says, where women are worshipped, gods dwell there. The society has to understand that women are the source of this whole universe. You and I came from a woman. Our mother was a woman. And the societies over the time kind of evolved and developed into male being superior for a wrong reason. I'm very, very, very happy these days that, I was in an ICF conference, Coaching Federation conference, and there was a conference where 5 women on the panel discussion were talking about women empowerment and how women need to be empowered. And so one of the women, a local Arab woman sitting in the audience, she stood up and said, we don't need any empowerment. We're already empowered. We are sitting in this conference next to a man and talking the same topic and the subject. Why do we need a special treatment? We don't need a special treatment. We just need to be seen just the way the whole world is seeing each other. So I think we have moved to a place where, yes, Women's Day is an important day. It gives us the opportunity to celebrate the contribution of the women in our family, to give them the respect and dignity. But we don't need to give them anything now. They have what they need. They are capable, competent, taking the world forward in a way much better than we can. The president of India is a woman. What else do you want?
Mr. GB, thank you so much for a wonderful conversation. And I hope I delivered my promise to you that we are going to have a good conversation together and you're going to have a good time with us. So I hope that I delivered that promise to you. And the next is I hope that we will be able to see each other in person. And that will be an honor for us to have a cup of tea with you, with your family, and see how we can work together to make the world a better place through our works. Let me know what I could help, and we love you from Vietnam. Thank you.
Thank you. Hi, it was a beautiful conversation. I really enjoyed speaking to you for the last 45, 50 minutes. What you're doing is amazing. It's contribution to the world, and as you said, sustainable. I look forward to having you in my home as soon as you can. Whether you want to come to UAE or to Oman or to India, you have a home in 3 countries, and I'll be happy to see you and your wife together and have some coffee and tea and stay with us. Come over.
Wow, thank you, thank you. Remember, send me a photo of you. All right. Yes, thank you very much. Have a fabulous day. Say hello to your family and send them our hug and kisses from Vietnam also.
Thank you. Same to you. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye bye.